If you've been told to eat more vegetables for your diabetes, that's half the truth. Not all vegetables are created equal, and some actually work against what your body needs. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which 5 vegetables have the science to back them up for managing blood sugar and improving how your body handles insulin. And I'm not talking about overnight fixes. I'm talking about real, measurable changes that happen when you make this one simple dietary shift. When you're living with diabetes or prediabetes, food becomes complicated. Your doctor tells you to cut carbs. Your friend tells you to go keto. Someone online tells you there's a superfood that will fix everything. The truth is way simpler than all that noise, but it requires understanding how your body actually processes blood sugar. Here's what most people don't know. The vegetables you eat directly influence how much insulin your pancreas needs to release. Some vegetables spike your blood sugar, others stabilize it. The difference isn't about willpower or counting calories. It's about choosing vegetables that have a specific nutritional profile that your body recognizes and responds to well. I've spent the last several months looking at the research on vegetables and blood sugar management. I've read the peer-reviewed studies. I've looked at what endocrinologists actually recommend to their patients. And what I found is that there are 5 vegetables that consistently show up in the data as the most effective for people managing blood sugar. The reason I'm making this video is simple. If you're going to eat vegetables anyway, you might as well eat the ones that actually work. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn which 5 vegetables these are, why they work, and exactly how to use them in your diet to see measurable improvements in your blood sugar levels over time. This isn't complicated, and it doesn't require you to completely overhaul your life, but it does require you to know which vegetables matter most. So let's get into it. Vegetable leafy greens: spinach, kale, lettuce. Let me start with the one that might seem obvious, but people still get wrong. Leafy greens: spinach, kale, arugula, romaine, lettuce. These vegetables have something almost magical for blood sugar management, and it's not what you think. Most people assume leafy greens help because they're low in carbs. That's part of it, but that's not the main mechanism. What really matters is the nutrient density. A single cup of raw spinach contains about 141 micrograms of vitamin K. That's not just a number. Vitamin K plays a direct role in bone metabolism and blood clotting, but more importantly for you, it influences glucose metabolism at the cellular level. Your cells need vitamin K to properly regulate how glucose enters and exits the cell. But here's where it gets more interesting. Leafy greens are extraordinarily high in polyphenols and flavonoids. These are plant compounds that act as antioxidants in your body. When your blood sugar is dysregulated, your cells experience something called oxidative stress. It's inflammation at the microscopic level. These polyphenols counteract that stress. They reduce inflammation. And when inflammation drops, your insulin sensitivity improves. The data backs this up consistently. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people who increased their intake of leafy green vegetables showed measurable improvements in insulin sensitivity within 4 weeks. Not overnight. 4 weeks. But that's actually fast for a metabolic change. The practical application here is straightforward. You want to be eating leafy greens at least once daily. A salad at lunch or dinner, raw or lightly cooked. The goal is to get them into your system consistently. One massive salad once a month doesn't do it. Regular, smaller amounts work better because you're consistently giving your cells the nutrients they need to process glucose efficiently. The amount that matters is about 2 to 3 cups of raw leafy greens daily, or 1 to 2 cups if you're cooking them down. That's not a huge commitment. It's 1 salad side or 1 bowl of greens with your meal. Vegetable: broccoli. Broccoli is one of those vegetables that gets hyped in health circles, and in this case, the hype is actually justified. But people don't understand why it works for blood sugar management, so they don't use it correctly. Broccoli contains a compound called sulforaphane. This is where the science gets genuinely interesting. Sulforaphane is a phytonutrient that your body produces when you eat raw or lightly cooked broccoli. What sulforaphane does is activate something called NRF2, which is a protein in your cells that controls your antioxidant response. In simpler terms, sulforaphane tells your cells to turn on their internal defense system. This matters for blood sugar because when your cells have a strong antioxidant defense, they handle glucose more efficiently. A 2019 study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found that sulforaphane from broccoli specifically improved insulin sensitivity in people with type 2 diabetes. The improvement was measurable within 3 weeks. But here's the critical detail that most people miss. You need to eat broccoli raw or very lightly steamed to get sulforaphane. If you boil broccoli or cook it until it's completely soft, you destroy the enzyme that creates sulforaphane. So the preparation method matters a lot. The recommendation is about 1 to 1.5 cups of raw or lightly steamed broccoli daily. You can add it to salads. You can steam it for 3 to 4 minutes and eat it with a little olive oil and salt. You can include it in stir fries, but keep the heat moderate and cooking time short. One practical tip: if you're buying frozen broccoli, make sure it's flash frozen and not pre-cooked. Cook it yourself for just a few minutes. That preserves the sulforaphane. Vegetable. Bell peppers. Red, yellow, orange. Bell peppers are interesting because they're technically a fruit, but we eat them as vegetables. And they have a specific nutrient profile that's particularly useful for blood sugar management. Bell peppers, especially the red, yellow, and orange varieties, are extremely high in vitamin C. A single medium red bell pepper contains about 152 milligrams of vitamin C, which is more than the daily recommended amount for most adults. Vitamin C directly influences how your body processes blood sugar. Here's the mechanism. Your cells have something called glucose transporters. These are proteins that grab glucose from your bloodstream and pull it into the cell so it can be used for energy. Vitamin C enhances the function of these transporters. When you have adequate vitamin C, your cells pull glucose in more efficiently, which means your blood glucose levels don't spike as high after meals. Additionally, bell peppers contain compounds called capsaicinoids. Even though capsaicinoids are more concentrated in hot peppers, they're present in bell peppers too. These compounds have been shown in multiple studies to improve insulin secretion and glucose tolerance. A 2015 study in nutrition and metabolism found that people who consumed bell peppers regularly showed a 10 to 15% improvement in postprandial glucose response, which means their blood sugar didn't spike as high after meals. The practical use is simple. About 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of raw bell pepper daily works well. You can eat them raw in salads or with hummus as a snack. You can cook them lightly in stir fries or add them to omelets. The key is eating them regularly, not occasionally. Vegetable asparagus. Asparagus is one of the most underrated vegetables for blood sugar management, and I think it's because people don't understand how it works. Asparagus is high in something called inulin. Inulin is a type of fiber, but it's not just any fiber. It's a prebiotic fiber, which means your body can't digest it, but your gut bacteria can. This is important because your gut bacteria have a direct influence on your insulin sensitivity. When your gut bacteria ferment inulin, they produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate. Butyrate is like fuel for the cells that line your intestines. When those cells are healthy and well-fueled, they create a stronger barrier between your digestive system and your bloodstream. This prevents something called leaky gut, which is a major driver of systemic inflammation and insulin resistance. Additionally, asparagus contains glutathione, which is one of your body's most powerful antioxidants. It's produced naturally in your cells, but you can boost it through diet. Glutathione plays a major role in protecting your cells from oxidative stress, which is central to insulin resistance. A 2015 study published in Nutrition Research found that people who ate asparagus showed measurable improvements in fasting insulin levels within 4 weeks. The practical recommendation is about 1 cup of asparagus 2 to 3 times per week. You can steam it, roast it with a little olive oil, or add it to omelets. The key is actually eating it regularly, not just occasionally. Vegetable mushrooms, especially shiitake and oyster. The last vegetable on this list is actually a fungus, but it works like a vegetable nutritionally. Mushrooms, particularly shiitake and oyster mushrooms, have a specific role in blood sugar management that's been seriously under-recognized. Mushrooms contain compounds called beta-glucans and polysaccharides. These compounds have multiple effects on your body. First, they enhance the function of your immune system, which reduces systemic inflammation. Second, they directly influence glucose metabolism. More specifically, mushrooms contain ergothioneine, which is an antioxidant compound that crosses the blood-brain barrier and protects your nervous system. This matters for blood sugar because your nervous system directly controls hormone release, including insulin. Additionally, certain mushrooms, particularly shiitake, are high in compounds that enhance insulin secretion. A 2019 study from the Journal of Functional Foods found that people who consumed shiitake mushrooms regularly showed improved insulin secretion in response to glucose challenges. The practical use is about half to three-quarters of a cup of cooked mushrooms, 2 to 3 times per week. You can sauté them, add them to soups, or roast them. Unlike broccoli, cooking mushrooms actually enhances some of their beneficial compounds because it breaks down cell walls and makes the polysaccharides more bioavailable. Putting it together. Now that you know what these 5 vegetables are and why they work, let me explain how to actually use this information. The goal isn't to eat all 5 every single day. That's not realistic for most people. Instead, think of this as a strategic approach to your meals. You want to incorporate at least 3 to 4 of these vegetables into your daily diet, and you want to rotate them throughout the week so you're getting the full range of nutrients. A practical framework looks like this. 1 salad daily with leafy greens, which covers your vitamin K and polyphenols. Then, on 5 days of the week, include 1 other vegetable from this list with your main meals. On Monday, broccoli. On Tuesday, bell peppers. On Wednesday, asparagus, and so on. Add mushrooms 2 to 3 times weekly. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Your blood sugar regulation improves when you give your cells the nutrients they need on a regular, ongoing basis. Missing 1 day doesn't erase progress, but missing consistently does. The amount matters too. The recommendations I gave you, 2 to 3 cups of leafy greens, 1 to 1.5 cups of broccoli, half to 3/4 of a cup of the other vegetables, these aren't random numbers. They're based on the research showing what amounts actually produce measurable changes. One more critical point. Timing matters. These vegetables work best when you eat them with meals that contain protein and healthy fat. This further slows glucose absorption and prevents blood sugar spikes. A salad with olive oil and grilled chicken, broccoli with salmon, bell peppers with eggs. This combination of vegetables plus protein plus fat is the most effective way to manage blood sugar through diet. Call 2. Here's what I want you to do starting today. Pick 3 of these 5 vegetables, the ones that actually appeal to you. If you hate broccoli, don't force it. Pick asparagus instead. Pick bell peppers instead. Then, commit to eating those 3 vegetables daily for the next 4 weeks. Just 4 weeks. Not forever. Just enough time for your body to adjust and for you to see measurable changes in how you feel. After 4 weeks, check your blood sugar levels if you're testing them, or notice how you feel. Your energy levels will likely improve. Your afternoon crashes will probably decrease. You might notice you're less hungry between meals. These are signs that your insulin sensitivity is improving. If you find this helpful, share this video with someone you know who's managing blood sugar or diabetes. The more people who understand which vegetables actually work, the more people can take control of their health through diet. And if you want more detailed information about managing blood sugar through nutrition, there are resources in the description below. But the core message is this. You don't need supplements. You don't need complicated meal plans. You need to know which vegetables work and then eat them consistently. That's it. That's the strategy. Start today. Pick your vegetables. Eat them regularly. And over the next few weeks, you'll start seeing and feeling the difference in your blood sugar levels and your overall energy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.